All right, guys, welcome to the Out of the Cave Media broadcast. We're going to start a new thing where we come out with about a 10-minute video daily. We're going to pick a different topic. If you guys have questions or things that come up that you want to learn about, let us know and we'll make that a topic. But otherwise, welcome to episode 1 of the Out of the Cave Media show.
Episode 1. Thank you. That was Chandler Walker. I am Dave Picardi. And we're pretty excited to hang out with you guys and talk marketing.
Yeah, life's all about marketing, relationships, and learning how to manage those effectively. And that's what Out of the Cave Media is about. It's about building that relationship to a level to where people like you, they want to work with you, they feel like you're human, and they're comfortable with you.
Yeah, so that's probably the core of our company here, right, Chan? Is we're kind of against a lot of the traditional marketing and just paying for leads and being superficial with it. And the big thing for us is about that relationship and building an audience of people that actually have their cell phones go off. Building that audience of people that they want to hear from you. You're educating them, but more importantly, they're bonding with your personality, who you are as a culture in your business. What do you think, Chan?
Yeah, exactly. And we see a lot of this stuff we call voodoo marketing, where people just pay and they're not sure what's going on. It might be direct sales. It might be something that's trying to trick people into clicking on links. And a lot of people come at you with all this information and show how low they can get a cost per click and all this, but they don't show how often the customers are repurchasing, what the customers are saying, what the customer lifestyle looks like at the end, the beginning, the middle, the whole journey. And for us, it's important. The only thing we worry about and we think about is what are the customers saying and what are the customers thinking about us? Because when you think about marketing in the relationship aspect, marketing is all about helping people understand what you do, building that relationship with them, and then building trust with them. So that way, when they do purchase something from you, they purchase again down the road, they give you really good reviews, and then they tell their friends about you. So then their friends come in and purchase from you. And it's because you provided such a good product and such a good service, and your marketing was set up in such a way that they felt comfortable with you. And we want to build that comfort.
So it just sounded like this isn't something that you can implement in a day. This sounded like almost like a long-term game.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That's weird.
So what we find out now in marketing is it has to be a long-term solution. If you get into the aspect where you need to do shotgun approaches because your business is running dry, then you're in a position to where you're going to ultimately fail or you're going to continually lose. And so we have to learn that this is a 12, 24, 36-month game we're playing here.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing. I know we've built all our infrastructure around that. You need to nurture people and build those relationships and build trust. And it just takes time and consistency. And then it's really hard for an individual. We do work with businesses that have, a one-man band. But it really comes down to if you have a team of people around you, you really need to build that team is part of your culture and your identity. So what we always try to do is we try to build content and education and just communication around the team and how the team interacts with the business, so that when potential clients and clients are interacting with your content, they feel like they're a part of what's going on and they want to be around you, and you're attracting the right kinds of people that line up with your values and your culture.
Yeah, that's huge. And you had a good point there. It's the most important people in your entire organization are not your customers, it's your employees. And the way your employees perceive your company is the way the customers are going to perceive the way the company operates and what the brand is. And so you have to understand that you need to capture the personalities, the identity, and all the information from your team. And you need to be able to showcase that stuff to the customer. So the customer can see that you have personalities, your team is human, there's people behind the phone that they talk on to, or people behind everything. And then they really feel connected in that humanistic way.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things we do? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so big things that we do, we have a couple of programs that we do, and we're all about building relationships. We practice what we preach. So the first thing is what we do is we build culture and we build identity around a brand. And then we establish and understand different personalities and different interactions between team members. And then we take those interactions, combine them with strengths, and we create sort of unique content system to where your team is showcasing their personality, their humanistic behaviors, their ideals, and the customer can really feel connected to each one of those team members, which adds that the humanity behind the brand and not the fake humanity where you're pretending it's real because you're showcasing people.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite onboarding meeting that we do. We get teams together and we interview them, and it's just a cool process. I love doing it and hearing about who they are and what they're into and what their personalities are like. And then, when we get together and do the brainstorming on putting it all together for them and come up with that game plan, I think that's a special process. I think it really sets us apart in the industry as well. But then I wanted to say, like, how do you tie that to, everyone really, it's a lot that's out there: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, like LinkedIn, and how do you put content? When do you put content? And how do you like track it and see, who's looking at your stuff, when they're looking at your stuff? Like there's a whole, there's obviously a lot that goes on with it. And so, we do all that too. That's all part of it. But the main thing is I think the content that actually gets pushed out around personalities and who you are as a brand. It's a big separator for us. It's our little niche.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's really neat to really pull culture out of a business who doesn't understand culture yet because they haven't been able to develop that. And you pull it out of their employees in different departments, you get them communicating with each other, and then you develop the identification factor behind the brand that the consumer needs. So then they start to say, wow, I follow those guys' content. I've been paying attention to what they're doing. They're really cool. They're funny. They motivate me. They do all the things that I really want to see. So I feel comfortable with them. And when we pull culture and identity, we build a brand. And I tell people a lot of the time, we're not in a brand-centric economy anymore where the brand is number one and it's the brand pushing information to everybody. We're in a customer-centric economy now to where we're moving from where the brand is important to where the customer is the most important thing that we look at. And what we say is the customer perception of the brand is what makes your brand and what builds your brand. And if the customer perceives that culture to be unique and fun and funny, they're going to want to engage with it. But if the customer perceives that culture to be just this corporatized, monotone, robotic brand, they're not going to care about it and they're not going to want to connect with it.
Yeah, I think that's an important factor, right? We're always lecturing on the how much the industry's changed over time, and websites were a big thing with and your blogs, and people are coming and looking at you, and when you're talking about how the brand, it's more about what the public perceives is important. I think it's because of the shift in how marketing's done and how platforms have changed, where now you need to not only be creative and show and showcase yourself and your team and your culture. You then need to learn how to go out and find the people and put it in front of them and interact with them, which means it's whatever that appearance looks like becomes the perception of your brand. And it's just how the world works at this point. So it's so important to understand this piece of it and implement it. And a lot of small business owners struggle with it, which is why I think what we're doing so special is we basically add ourselves on as a marketing manager in your company. Right, work with your teams and have our weekly and monthly meetings and constantly make adjustments. And so you don't really have to do all the work. You just have to do some implementation.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think the fact that we embed ourselves in and get so involved puts us in a position to where we want, like ticks underneath the skin. And that definitely separates us, because it's not just like, all right, let's do it, let's talk once a month, but we're not going to tell you anything we're doing. It's let's have constant communication. We need to have constant feedback. We need to know, you need to know what you're putting out. We need to know what you're putting out. When we work together doing this, we need to see what's working, what's not. We need to make pivot shifts if we see that one thing's performing better than the other. And we need to do this thing where we learn, we grow, and we evolve constantly. And if we're doing that together, I think it makes the business more successful. And it puts us into a position to where we're doing this in an ethical way, where we care about the success of everybody we work with. And we want to build that relationship and practice what we preach and get people to refer out because we work so hard and so well with them.
Yeah. I think the other important part, I think, is, let's just say like the second part of our service is lead nurture. And what we found over the, I guess last year or so is people get confused as to what lead nurture is, and they view it as marketing, and they pay for expensive lead nurture systems thinking that they're going to drive leads and generate leads. But it's really not the case. It's just, that's a long-term game for nurturing so that you can constantly communicate and, eventually, get people pulled in, but you have to get those people initially in, right? And that's the game. That's the hardest part of our industry, is learning how to get people in the front door and get those emails and names, and so that you can nurture, right? And that's what we're always working so hard at. So we put our main focus on the marketing side with building relationships, and then we also set up lead nurture on the back end to capture and make all that effort work for us.
Yeah, when you think about it, you have to engage the customer on every piece of their life cycle. So we have to have all the culture, the identity, the content, and then we have to have somewhere to feed them into and continue nurturing them over time, which is essentially our lead nurture system. I think you have a good point too. A lot of the time, these email marketing systems are touted as like this super high level tool, and it's going to pull everybody into your system. But in the end, all it is just a way to send emails to people in a strategic way. And if that's set up, plus the content, moving people through the whole life cycle, then we have a good system. But if one piece isn't there, then the whole system's going to fail. And that's why it's a system. We need it all together. We need all working together as one. And then we're going to be successful with it. So one of our goals with this Out of the Cave Media thing we'll do on our daily shows is to answer questions. If you guys have like a company that you're thinking about and you want someone to analyze it and look at it and tell you whether or not we think it's a good deal, and with us we'll be totally agnostic in whether or not like you should work with us, and we'll tell you like, all right, it's a good company or it's not, or they have one piece of it but they don't have the whole thing. And so our goal is to help make this industry better, because the industry it's somewhat horrifying in the way people get taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we were one of those companies where we own a few companies here, and you don't know, and so you went out and you just pay, right? And so it's just, that looks right. I was sold. Here's my money, and then most of the time it didn't pan out, or it flooded me with the wrong types of clients, or crappy leads. It's a really hard industry to navigate, and understanding that this is what I think why you and I work so well together, Chandler, is we're just trying to help people, and we're trying to set it up so that it's relationship based first. And if you're a business that's not relationship based, then we're definitely not the guys for you, right? Like we'd send you to some other place as well.
Yeah, exactly. For us, everything is about the relationship, from everything we put out, the reason we do all this stuff, to everybody we work with, to the information we'll give. It's relationship based, relationship focused, and it's long term. And if that stuff doesn't fit, we definitely will say, hey, try this company out. They're more short term focused or whatever. But our goal is to be the catalyst to help you build that relationship and to help the relationship grow over time with your customers, your current customers, and people who we can refer out to, and basically manage the whole life cycle.
Absolutely. Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I think we can keep going. So one of our problems is we'll go for hours. And so
yeah,
it'd be cool. We're going to make it a daily segment, be nice and quick, 5 minutes or so, and constantly talk. And anyone out there, if you have any questions ever, just shoot them our way. And we're pretty excited to just share information and help.
Definitely send us some questions. You can post it in the comments here, or send it to hello@outofthecave.media, or Chandler @outofthecave.media, or Dave @outofthecave.media.com. It's OOTCmedia.com. And we'll answer them in an episode. This has been fun. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Picking up the pieces from the start.